Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Dan Azeez retains his British light heavyweight title against former champ SHAKAN Pitters. This was a fight where sometimes you get styles, opposing styles, and they gel. Sometimes they just don't really gel fully. I wouldn't say this was a boring fight, but it never really sort of came alive like we hoped it would. The styles were very different. The physiques were very different. Pitters freakishly tall for... he's 6'6" as a light heavyweight. Azeez 5'10", which isn't particularly short, but clearly, you know, you're talking what, 8 inches in height difference. There's going to be a difference in style, and so it proved with Azeez making himself even smaller, crouching down. We saw him fight against Hosea Burton, who was also a lot taller than him, not as tall as Pitters. A few people are at that weight, you know, he was moving forward. First round, nothing in it. Second round, he landed a good overhand right, which shook Pitters. Then Pitters came back with a good uppercut, which kind of steadied Azeez. So Pitters with those long arms, wanting to keep it long, firing a lot of jabs. A lot were missing. Azeez trying to get in close, trying to repeat the overhand right success. Worked the body a little bit, not much really, not nearly enough in my opinion. He's 33 now, Azeez, so he's a kind of a late bloomer, but yeah, it was a good win for Azeez. I mean, Pitters is a good fighter and an awkward fighter, but neither man was really landing that much. And I think I had it even after the 6th round, 3 each. Although a couple of those rounds could have been, or at least one of them I think of, could have been classed as swing rounds. Then in the second half of the fight, certainly, I think 7, 8, 9, if I remember, Azeez really started to impose his will on Pitters. Pitters was looking a bit tired. Pitters has got a habit of, he tries to fight on the inside, which for a guy of his height is kind of freakish, but he likes it up close. There were occasions once he got tired when he was kind of trying to drape himself over Azeez and use those spidery arms to tie him up, but he does like some up-close fighting, Pitters. He does like a bit of infighting, really. And Azeez, that suited Azeez better when it was at longer range, when there was a gap between them. Both were sort of vying to control the range. Neither was landing a high percentage of punches. Once up close, you got the feeling that although Pitters was landing some punches, he was being gradually worn out a bit. Despite being taller and obviously thinner with a great telescopic neck, I don't think he could match Azeez for physical strength. Azeez was kind of taking over, like I say, around 7, 8, 9, and I definitely thought that in the second half of the fight, I think I had him, where did I have him winning? Can't remember, I'm trying to work it out in my head because I didn't write it down. I think I had him winning the majority of the rounds, and it ended up as a 116, 112 to Azeez on my card. But a lot of those rounds, they were, certainly in the first half of the fight, they were kind of, could have gone either way, you know, what do you like, that sort of thing. And like I say, the styles didn't particularly gel great. But Pitters, who is also 33, so neither of these is, you know, is at the start of their career, probably closer to the end of it than the start, although nowadays you never know. A lot of fighters, they carry on until their late 30s, especially at the higher weights. But Pitters can come back. I think he's found his level at British title level. His previous defeat, the only defeat he had in his record, was a 9th round TKO against Craig Richards. And again, he fought up close for a lot of that fight and kind of got undone. He got found out. I mean, he was down in the 4th round of that fight. And then I think a left hook put him over in the 9th round. But he wasn't using that height and that range as much as he should have been doing. It was the same story with against Azeez, and it was a unanimous decision. I think there was 117, 111, which I thought was a bit wide, and a 115, 113, and then a 116, 112, which is what I had it, I think. But yeah, the cards picked the right guy for me, and it never really got caught alight. Interestingly, they both of their previous fights were against the same man, Rhys Cartwright, with Pitters stopping Cartwright in the 8th and Azeez stopping Cartwright in the 8th. So, so form-wise, it really was kind of a pick and fight. I thought if Pitters kept it long and managed to stay disciplined and managed to keep Azeez under control, he could survive a late rally and maybe pinch it on points. But that's not the way it happened. I think, like I say, around about the middle rounds, Azeez did take over somewhat, just through sheer attritional physical will. And Pitters, perhaps the height he is, he does lack a bit of physical strength. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Not great, but a decent enough fight. Dan Azeez now presumably moves on to European level. Perhaps the EBU title's in his sights. Pitters can go back and regroup if he wants to. He's been champ once. I don't see any reason why he couldn't, be involved in a few excellent domestic dust-ups with other fighters. I mean, you've got Yard out there. How about Lerone Richardson? Lyndon Arthur, not Lerone Richardson. Lyndon Arthur, I was thinking of, against Pitters. That would be an interesting one. And I think Lyndon Arthur's signed to boxer, hasn't he? So, Spider Rich is still out there, isn't he? Yeah, it's good. It was all right. It was an okay fight. So what did you think? Did you see the fight? Not brilliant, but okay. I like this light heavyweight, this domestic light heavyweight scene. I think there's so many good fighters. What's happening with Callum Johnson? I mean, we know Callum Smith is flying. He's looking for a world title fight, but Callum Johnson, Mr. Sicknote, I mean, since he's joined Frank Warren's promotional stable, Queensbury stable, he's done nothing, and I think that's a real waste of talent. And he's a banger as well. If I was Pitters, I'd avoid him. If I was Azeez, I might avoid him as well. Had high hopes for Callum Johnson once upon a time. Then they threw him in with Beterbiev, and then since then he's done absolutely nothing. But anyway, I'm rambling a bit here, but a good division, the light heavyweights in Britain. What did you think of the fight? Did you see it? Did you think the right man won? I personally did. Leave your comments below, as usual. Double jab, subscription button, like button, helps the channel out. Great. We'll speak again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.